She has a valid question. She's asking about the origin of COVID-19.
I hear the question.
And Dr. Fauci is the best person to answer
I
that
hear
question.
your question, but we're not doing this the way you want it. This is a disrespectful. It is. I'm done. Simon, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with you right now. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're taking time away from your colleagues. Go ahead.
Over the past week or so, we've heard many Republicans argue that this president ran as a uniter, and now he's calling MAGA Republicans, which is a very large swath of the American populace, semi-fascists. He is arguing that they're a threat to democracy. Does the White House believe that this is a fair criticism by Republicans, that this is not unifying language?
So I'll say this, Nancy. Sadly, there are more examples than I can count on how we have seen recently armed attacks on federal law enforcement. There are a couple of things I just want to say here. You have Representative Paul Gosar has posted videos depicting him attacking the president and members of Congress. You have Representative Majority Taylor Greene has publicly expressed support for shooting prominent Democratic elected officials and suggesting physically assaulting transgender school officials. You have Representative Madison Cawthorn has said falsely, if our election systems continue to be rigged and continue to be stolen, then it's going to lead to one place, and that's bloodshed.
Neither of you has seen the president today. Neither of you is treating the president. The question is, when will Dr. O'Connor come out? Because to just put out a statement and shield him from questions would be the least transparency of any White House in 50 years on a presidential illness.
Wow, I wholeheartedly disagree on your last statement. Wholeheartedly disagree on your last statement. So we are doing this very differently that I would argue than the last administration, and I'm happy to have that conversation with you. Number one, we did not see the president because we are following CDC guidance. And the CDC guidance is to make sure that we have minimal contact with the president and allow him to isolate.
Could we get the president's position here so that we can not play the game of telephone?
I don't think this is a game of telephone. You have Dr. Jha, who is a medical doctor himself, who runs our COVID-19 response. You're going to hear regularly to a statement from Dr. O'Connor. And so we are going to be as transparent as we are going to be transparent as we have been. We put out a statement this morning. We put out a letter from Dr. O'Connor. You have both of us here taking your questions and answering them. You saw a picture of the president, you saw a video of the president. And so we are doing this very differently. And here's the difference between Democrats and MAGA Republicans. When a Democrat says something racist or anti-Semitic, we hold Democrats accountable. When a MAGA Republican says something racist or anti-Semitic, they are embraced by cheering crowds and become celebrated and sought after endorsements.
The new attention on the MAGA Republicans. You tweeted in 2016
I knew this was
Trump
coming.
stole an election. You
I was
tweeted-
waiting, Peter, when you were going to ask me that question.
Well, great. Here we go.
I was talking specifically at that time of what was happening with voting rights and what was in danger of voting rights. That's what I was speaking to at the time. And here's the thing. I have said Governor Kemp won the election in Georgia. I've been clear about that. I have said President Trump won the election of 2016, and I've been clear about that. What we are talking about right now is, let's not forget what happened on January 6, 2021, when we saw an insurrection, a mob that was incited by the person who occupied this campus, this facility at that time. And it was an attack on our democracy. Let's not forget, people died that day. Law enforcement were attacked that day. That was the danger that we were seeing at the time. That's what the president has called out.
And I don't want to see anybody die from COVID. Whether you're a far-right Republican or a far-left Democrat, it doesn't make any difference to me.
Dr. Fauci, only 13% of...
Hold on one second. We have a process here. I'm not calling out on people who yell. And you're being disrespectful to your colleagues, and you're being disrespectful to our guests. I will not call on you if you yell And also, you're taking time off the clock because Dr. Fauci has to leave in a couple of minutes. I'm done. I'm not getting into a back and forth with you.
We have to really, make sure that we make it clear that there's a choice in front of the American people, right? And we have to make sure that we make it loud and clear that when it comes to MAGA Republicans, we call that out, and that's what he did. And what they're doing, right? What they're doing in attacking our democracy.